This is it, we have reached the final, but this is only one of them. Watch the other finals too, please.
But yeah, FairJame's extremely good at identifying what's going wrong in his game, fixing it on the fly, and trying to improve as you go into later games in the series, even making mid-series adaptations. And I've been talking all tournament about how difficult it is to make these changes on the fly, but FairJame is definitely very good at that. Unfortunately for him, so is oKhaliD. And I think everything that you can say Fair's good at, you say, so is oKhaliD as well. Is there anything that he can't do in 1v1?
Yeah, well, he's gonna have to run the gauntlet here. Now, we haven't spoken about it, but as well, Sandrock Gaming do have that backup option, the same way Vitality do.
Indeed,
in the form of Ahmed. So, you know, both teams have got other weapons in the arsenal. Here we go, game number 1, and we're starting off with FairJame's kickoff. That's a great start for Vitality.
FairJame already in front. He's in the Fennec today. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing that all the way through, because if there's somebody you don't really want to play that slow, calculated style against, it would be oKhaliD, who just always seems to have a read on every dribbling play that's happening. Another kickoff win for FairJame. Is he going to get off to an even better start here? He is, and always has been, one of the best players in the world at turning a possession from a kickoff into an immediate shot on target.
Yeah, and you don't want to be going behind him, in a matchup against him either, because those plays just take so long. He is not in a rush to score the goal. He's just happy to make sure he gets it. So needs to try to stay out of that situation. FairJame sets up, launches, scores.
That's one of the best flicks I've ever seen from FairJame. What power! Absolutely insanity from the man. oKhaliD might have to reconsider his defense at the moment, because if he's standing off, FairJame's playing this well, it's not going to work out in my opinion. 2-0 already for FairJame.
And the one major advantage, I mean, oKhaliD's got plenty of advantages in this, but not really getting a chance to show it just yet. The one major advantage I was going to give to oKhaliD coming into this was the potential that either FairJame was trying to secure the tournament for Vitality, or he was trying to secure the sweep for Vitality. Now that we're 1-1, FairJame can look at this as a chance for him to just show off his own personal skill. So that takes away a lot of the nerves for him as well.
Oh, definitely. FairJame doesn't have the pressure on him. He doesn't have to go and win the tournament here. Whereas oKhaliD, he does actually have some pressure on him. He's the guy who's supposed to win here. He's supposed to beat everybody in 1v1. And I said before that I've never really seen him choke under any kind of pressure. So I would be surprised if that happens. But if it was ever going to happen, it would be today. And it looks like oKhaliD is going to stay calm for now, though. Walks it past FairJame for his first goal. And he stayed calm in defense as well, even though he knew FairJame was about to shoot.
Yeah, FairJame went incredibly aggressive, looking for that 4th goal. Flicked it from an angle that he was always going to be at a disadvantage trying to score from. So oKhaliD's got himself back within number 2. And he's also got a decent little kickoff here. Pops back. FairJame keeps that pressure on. He's missed the ball, forced to retreat. Back to the corner. oKhaliD sets up, launches. And this is why you can't have those mistakes. Yeah,
you cannot give this guy a bounce dribble, even if it is just the one bounce. That will do for oKhaliD. Boom into the top right corner. FairJame taking a bit too long to turn around. And his lead is starting to look a lot less safe. A long time left to go in this one. FairJame will get the kickoff to go back into his favor. There's going to be plenty of swings in that, I'm sure, as the day goes on. Both players already changing it up a few times. FairJame going to give it a go. Can he one-up oKhaliD in his own game? No, oKhaliD stays in the way of that shot, and he's going to smash in another open net for himself. Tie game. FairJame couldn't do the oKhaliD.
Yeah, FairJame's version was very direct compared to what we see from oKhaliD. And the other thing that really went against him is the fact that oKhaliD just was so well defensively positioned that FairJame couldn't find a way through. So by the time he actually got to the point where he was taking the shot, he was so close to oKhaliD that the save was much easier. So he's in fact that he was able to transition. Now oKhaliD looking for the lead. A tame shot, but that's just a set up the next one.
And FairJame almost had the double save here, but the first save, being as weak as it was, is what caused him problems. Looks like he may have been trying to control that ball in his own goal line, which is extremely gutsy to even attempt. And you can see the danger of doing that if he ends up bouncing it away from himself at all. oKhaliD is going to be there. Hardly any mistakes really from oKhaliD so far. He's been scored on 3 times, but you know that was just FairJame shooting with incredible accuracy. Now that the game has evened out a bit, khalid is getting to play his style, and he's not running into too many issues, offensively at least. What can Fairy Peak bring to the table?
Well, he's going to try and lock down here, but khalid's got 55 boost. Won't feel too much pressure just yet. Instead, can win the challenge.
Man.
That's 5 now in a row. Fairies have been unable to answer.
This is a position where Fairy had plenty of boost to play with, but khalid is just always in the right place. It's in the way of every play Fairy's trying to make, and 2-goal lead now, but more importantly, like you said, 5 goals in a row. khalid looking unstoppable all of a sudden. Fairy Peak needs to respond soon if game 1 is going to stay available for him. It's a nice touch in the corner. khalid decides to turn on it. Fairy Peak had an open net and he's missed it. You know, it's always going to be difficult to sneak those open nets in, even if it is open technically. Still only got very, very small window to score it.
But again, that defense is leading to so many goals for khalid. Fairy's got to start opening some angles here, because this is not working. khalid can figure these out.
And it's a real change up from what we saw yesterday. Jack did take 2 games off Fairy before Fairy decided to sub out for Alpha. And in those games, there was a bit of Jack surprising Fairy with early challenges. There was a bit of incredible goalkeeping, just forcing Fairy to overextend. But this has just been khalid straight up outplaying Fairy in the midfield, in the challenge game. He's just one step ahead of every play, and that's 7 goals in a row. This guy just unbelievable in the game mode. I don't know what Fairy's supposed to do from here.
Now, there is one thing that has been very uncharacteristic for Fairy so far this series, and it was something that you brought up yesterday when he was playing against Jack, which was, to start off, that he was being very cute with a lot of his plays. He was trying to be a little bit less direct than usual, and when he actually switched up to just go full shot but focused, he found a lot more success. I'm seeing a lot of similarities here in game 1 here, where it's just, he's trying to beat khalid with one play.
Wow.
He wants to go for the big one. That's not the way Fairy shines at the best. He needs to be taking those power shots.
There we go.
Try and make khalid uncomfortable.
This is a really nice save from Fairy. khalid actually getting an air dribble out of that wall shot, but Fairy was with him the whole way. And he finally breaks that streak. Important that he did that. khalid was just rolling through him at that point. But, you know, it's like you said, Fairy Peak's playing at his best when he is just taking no-nonsense shots on target, smashing the ball into the top corner. It's decent landing by Fairy, but he can't reach the ball in time. khalid still too fast to it. It's a nice little pop there by khalid, just forcing the save. And it looked like Fairy may have fumbled the landing just a smidgen, and that was all that khalid needed to score.
4 goals the better, and not much time left on the clock. khalid, with the way that we have seen him close out his games, should not be losing it from here. That was such a small gap to try and take that shot from, and he still nails it.
Yeah, he's nailing the nail on the nail on the head there. And you know, said earlier, these open nets are not always the easiest to score. That one had to be absolutely perfect. Almost no time to sneak it past Fairy. That's exactly what he's done. 5-goal gap opens up again.
I can't remember. We are now at 9-1 in the most recent goals ever since khalid started scoring. Fairy will want to try and figure this one out. We know he's capable of it. And we also know that, you know, of all the adjustments he can make, one of those adjustments could just be, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Maybe.
He will pull the trigger on that very quickly. I mean, we saw him win a game destructively against Jack in game 2, lose game 3, and instantly say, all right, no, I'm not the one for this. Like, he will come to that conclusion very quick.
Well, you know, Fairy said yesterday on Twitter after his 2-game losses, after Alpha came in and helped to beat Jack and send them into this 1v1 grand final, that he wasn't feeling very well. So Fairy, you know, besides not feeling like his playstyle was right for the matchup, just wasn't feeling it that day. And the same thing happened as well today for K-Dop as Fairy came in the 2v2. We always knew Vitality would have that adaptability on the roster, the versatility in more than one game mode. But I wonder if that's going to play a part today. Obviously, Fairy is feeling pretty good coming off a sweeping win over Oxygen in the 2v2. So I don't think if he does get subbed out, it's going to be based on that. But he still might if, you know, another game like this happens. Do you just give Alpha a go? Do you give it a run and see if, you know, someone has a decent matchup against this guy? Because yeah, the list of people who have a good matchup against khalid is already pretty small to begin with.
Yeah, but we don't know yet if Fairy Peak is on that list. I still... You have to look at this and say this was not Fairy Peak's typical playstyle. I think he tried to adapt to khalid a little bit too much. And he lost a lot of his own strengths in doing so. So I would like him to still go into this next one more of a neutral base, see where that takes him.
Yeah, I just want to see another game really from Fairy and see what he's got planned, because he does know how to switch things up. And, well, he is going to switch things up already. That's one easy way to do it. We've got the Batmobile for Game 2. What is khalid going to do against that? You know, Fairy got a 3-0 start in the last game, so he'll just be looking to repeat that. You always wanted to see this, of course. Fairy Peak in the Batmobile playing against khalid. It had to happen at some point. Well, there you go. khalid's won game 1, so we do get to see it immediately. Thank you, khalid, for giving everybody what they want.
Fairy now. Well, the car that he is best known for. But he is up against the best player in ones right now. Might set himself up here. He certainly has done that. khalid tried to call his bluff, and Fairy was forced to react very quickly. It's a decent little line, actually, from Fairy. He was on 12 to start with. Managed to get himself up to close to 50 just off the smalls. But he can't afford to get too far forward. You can see why. khalid will happily take those long shots if you just get that little bit too far out of your position when you're in offense. But now Fairy goes low. khalid turns it. Takes that mid boost. Fairy's back down, and you know what that sets up. Bounce dribble.
Yep. That'll do it. Fairy gave khalid the space, and khalid not only gets the bounce dribble started, but he's also cut in field, gives himself the entire goal to aim at, and there's just no way that Fairy can cover all the angles there. khalid playing it perfectly, and he's already 1 goal ahead here. But it is interesting to see Fairy Peak's pace change. As soon as he switches into the Batmobile, he's playing a very slow game, just trying to control this one, because khalid did look like he was beating Fairy to the ball at the end of game number 1 a fair bit. So, you know, it does make sense for Fairy to just try and calm things down a little bit. Say, khalid, just let's take a deep breath and slow down the game. khalid's not interested, though. He's still playing at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Luckily for Fairy, though, these kickoffs still looking pretty good for him. Up to the wall. khalid tried to defend that. He might be turning it. Tried it afterwards, but that was gorgeous from Fairy Peak.
He just sent the ball in at an awkward angle, and that's done the job. That little touch there, surprising khalid, who thought that Fairy was done with that one, at least for the time being. It's difficult to get the ball past khalid at these near post positions. As we saw earlier, you know, these power slide turns on the wall, very good at getting goal side and just keeping the ball in angles that are difficult to score from. Sometimes gets him in trouble in 2v2 and 3v3, because in those game modes you've got more than one player to worry about. He's got one player that he should start worrying about right now, and his name's Fairy Peak. Another 3-goal swing for him.
And he's winning these kick challenges as well. Fairy Peak, we've already seen have one good start. This one has to go better than the last time. khalid, what is he gonna do? Well, he's just gonna brutalize
it's fine.
That kickoff.
Totally
just off
fine.
The post. Yep, no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, Fairy Peak clearly had that planned. He's got the possession, he's got the 100 boost. Doesn't shoot top shelf this time. Oh, and he's giving this one away.
No.
khalid's gonna have an open net. Fairy Peak with a blunder in defense. I don't think he can make up his mind. He was trying to think about, okay, do I put that across into the corner, or do I bring it back down the line with me? You can't do something in between. khalid's just gonna score. Got a close one from Fairy in the quick chat. He's having some fun with this one.
Certainly is. I mean, this is his chance. He's not the one with any pressure right now, and it certainly will show. But we also know Fairy is out-and-out professional. We also know that he is determined to win everything he is involved with. He is definitely going to be up against it in this one. He's got Fairy in such a tough spot, but the recovery is fantastic from Fairy. Managed to just catch the ball on his way down. And yet again, Fairy goes on the backside of the challenge and just about kept away.
The bump from khalid. He's trying to get the boost on spawn. Does get it. Fairy Peak takes a challenge very close to the ball. Kali decides to slow play. He's going for the bump, but Fairy bumps him into it. The counter bump. I think we're seeing a lot of strategies this weekend, or this week rather, showing various ways to stop the impossible shot. Well, Fairy Peak coming up with a new one there.
I love that Fairy's just utilized the own power of that shot.
Wow.
He actually called the bluff.
That's
To be
insane.
fair, I'm not too sure if he had any other choice but to go for it, but still. Fairy making the most of those defensive efforts. And Khalid, you know, main success so far is still from those bounce dribbles. Everything else, a little bit more difficult so far in this game, and Fairy rockets it.
Fairy Peak's not interested in letting Khalid start another one of those bounce dribbles. You can already see Khalid was looking for the same line of play as before. Fairy Peak immediately shut that down, and then, for I think the third time in a row, he just called Khalid's bluff. He says, I don't think you're hitting that ball, I think you're just leaving it. And he closes the distance. Huge ball chase there for Fairy.
Up by 2 with 2 minutes left. This game has flown by so far. Khalid sets up. Got a decent amount of boost. That is too much power. But he's managed to steal the extra 100, so he will be able to head back. Fairy Peak dominating the midfield in this game. Every time Khaled's tried to turn, he has ended up losing the follow-up challenge.
Wow,
and
well
again,
done.
Fairy Peak just seems to know what Khalid will and will not go for.
This is so smart by Fairy. I don't think many players would have gone for that in that position. It's so tempting to just flick the ball on target slowly. Fairy Peak actually coming up with a new plan. He knew that Khalid was boost starved. That's really, really intelligent. You know, I said last game that Khalid was just straight up outplaying Fairy in terms of positioning, in terms of strategy, maybe speed as well, but huge turnaround here. Fairy Peak several times one-upping Khalid in terms of reads and decisions.
That's what happens, isn't it? You head to the final boss, you beat them once, and then suddenly you realize, oh, that was just the first form. That was Fairy Peak with the Fennec. Just, you beat him once, and suddenly, oh wait, there was a Batmobile in there as well. This could be very interesting. Khalid trying to just cut around Fairy. Still in a good spot with this, but Fairy puts that pressure on, and it was a bad decision to make. Khalid used the wall to stabilize the challenge, and now we're within 1.
This is interesting. Khalid had all the options here. He could have taken this up the wall, he could have gone off the ceiling, but he decides to just cut in field and hide behind the ball. That's something we always see from Fairy Peak as well, using his own strategies against him. And you can see that Fairy Peak is afraid of giving Khalid any free touches on the ball in these positions. He was eager to put a challenge in, and Khalid got the direct counter.
Well, Khalid has answered aggression with aggression now with the challenges. Only 1 goal between them. Khalid looking to try and put Sandrock Gaming up by 2 in this series. It's a fantastic save. Gives nothing for Fairy to work with in terms of a follow-up shot. Keeps that pressure on. Fairy scares him away with the potential bump. Takes away that middle boost. Now trying to bait Khalid in. Khalid's seen this one before, though. Ixo was happy to go towards this plan. Fairy Peak. Not enough on the flick, though.
Oh, that might be good.
Offense.
It is!
Wow, that's just in.
Perfect placement by Fairy. Khalid struggling to get good saves in these positions. And I said earlier, he's always so good at hitting the ball into spots that the opponent can't shoot from. Fairy Peak managed to shoot there. Maybe Khalid didn't think he would. 2-goal lead for the player I still consider the greatest 1v1 player of all time. Khalid may be the biggest threat to that, but Fairy Peak is going to try and put some more distance between them. He has done in this game.
Well, if you want to be the GOAT, you better beat the previous one. And Khalid is now starting to realize in this series what he is up against. Fairy Peak, not necessarily as focused on 1v1s anymore. Still just as dangerous as ever. Now 30 seconds left. It would be a surprise if he did end up dropping this. Very likely that we're going to 1 each.
Lots of boost for both players. Khalid going to take his time here. No panic yet. He does have the time on the clock. And again with the great placement off the ground shot. Look at the composure. 20 seconds left and he still has the presence of mind to take a touch.
And it's so difficult to deal with as a defender because Khalid's approach is the same to go on the opposite side of the net. You just got to make your guess and hope. And even then, if Khalid hits it well enough, and he's got off this kickoff very well, might go for the first time shot. Very desperation save. That could secure game 2 for him, as khalid is forced back.
khalid wants the wall play. Fairy's not going to let it happen. That's game 2 in the bag for Fairy Peak and Vitality. You know, we're talking about the potential player swap. Turns out all he needed was a quick trip to the garage. Batmobile is in the building, and it's probably here to stay after that game.
I mean, I'm going to still count this as a player swap. Fairy Peak with anything that isn't the Batmobile is a completely different player. And I think we got the chance to see that here. This was a very calculated performance from him. He definitely slowed down the pace a little bit, and it worked out well. Khalid was finding a decent little bit of success towards the end, especially with more challenges and slightly more pressure on the ball. But for the vast majority, Fairy was controlling the pace, controlling the space across the field, and he was doing a good job of it.
Yeah, this is vintage Fairy. You know, it is true. Fairy Peak predominantly plays 3s and 2v2 in ranked, probably. I would say 1v1 is the game mode he practices the least, but for his entire streak as best 1v1 player on the planet, he didn't play ones then either. He never played ones ranked. He would just go to his placement matches, be rank 1 because he never loses, and then just nobody could catch up to him. Khalid is that man right now. He's sitting at the top of the table and he's putting shots to the top corner over and over again. Fairy Peak under immediate pressure in game 3.
It is just a constant source of goals for Khalid, is those shots to the top corners. Fairy, this is hyper aggressive from him. He's probably going to get caught for it, but Khalid's shot was awful. Needed to have that one go on target and needed a lot more on the actual ball. Fairy Peak looks to set, puts it to the far side. Fairy's got all the options here. He can feint out for so long that he might reset the ball. Instead, just a little plop over to the other side of the ball.
It's that little air roll at the end. It adds so much power to the last touch. Khalid didn't see it coming. He thought the Fairy was done. You've always got to be ready for the last touch on the ball, though. Fairy should be scoring here, actually. Very strong position for him. And he's picking his spot very nicely. Great placement by Fairy. He's ahead again.
Well, there was no real question about what he was trying for as soon as he cut over. Problem is, nothing you can do about it. That's great play from Fairy. He is now up by 1 again. Only 32 seconds, though, played in this game, and these two. You know, I could see this. And it might be, you know, about 20% analysis and 80%, but I really want it to as a fan. I could definitely see this going to Game 7. Oh, wow.
Fairy Peak with a huge read. Khalid tried to bump him on the ground after faking a ceiling shot. Fairy Peak just sat there. He saw Khalid coming, predicted the jump, and he just sneaks underneath him. 3-1 lead. Fairy Peak is very much in a streak.
Fairy just... He seems to just know something about Khalid. He seems to just understand, you know, when the feints are coming in, when he actually needs to try and dive for it. Khalid has struggled to get Fairy to start moving when he wants him to. And the best performances we've seen from Khalid are when he just does small little movements and the opponent starts dancing for him. You know, he's not getting that same reaction from Fairy just yet. A low challenge. Well... Johnny, I've talked previously about how flat the Batmobile is. Doesn't really matter when you decide to put the entirety of the top of the car through the ball.
What did Fairy Peak feed the Batmobile this morning? It's just stronger. Just forces it in. 4-1. And dare I say it, Fairy Peak is making Khalid look second best right now. I'd say these two have a lot in common with, you know, when they're looking at their best, it's because they're just slamming in goals with no nonsense. So Khalid's been playing a bit cheeky, and it's going to work this time, but I want to see more forced plays from him. I don't want to see him waiting for Fairy to misplay. That's a really nice fake, though. Well played to get Fairy jumping. I don't expect it to happen too often, though. Fairy Peak's been pretty solid with the 50-50s and the reads.
Yeah, for Khalid to keep getting that sort of result, he has to have the setup touch be just as perfect as that one, and that is going to be very rare. That he's going to be able to get it to go that well. This is a nice position to be in. Fairy, though, he'll be happy to see plenty of power on the board. He'll be even happier to see Khalid fly past it. Now there's going to be a play for that back corner. Fairy. Oh, he expected the challenge. Khalid faked it. And now he's got possession.
Khalid will try and dribble this into space on the right-hand side. He's always looking for the gaps in Fairy's defense. If Fairy's in front of him, he'll go sideways, and if Fairy's up on the wall with nowhere to go. He'll demo him. 1 goal game. Fairy Peak was running away from the demo this whole time. He thought, okay, now I'm good. He's probably done chasing me. Well, that was wrong. khalid finds it.
It's just, no matter how good you play, khalid will never stop on his pursuit. And khalid's had a good little game here in terms of putting together offensive opportunities. He's already got 6 shots compared to Fairy's 3.
Wait, Fairy has 3 shots and 4 goals?
He's got 3 shots. Oh, khalid's missed!
No, he's not! What?
Wiped off the face of the map. Fairy sets himself up. He's got the angles, but he couldn't get the shot.
Oh my goodness. I almost jumped out my chair there, khalid.
Were you also on khalid's POV?
Yeah, I was on khalid's POV. I thought for sure he's going to score. Then he... Oh my goodness, that demo almost gave me a heart attack. Are you one of these people who still gets jump scares when you get challenged in Rocket League? Yep, me as well.
No, I hate the blind challenges so much. Oh, what a shot!
No,
Fairy turns it into his own net.
What is going on right now? Why does this always happen in every 1v1 we cast this tournament? It's insane at one moment and then it's just ridiculous at the next. That's triple touch own goal by Fairy. khalid equalizes in the most bizarre fashion.
But the important thing is that he did equalize, and now he's in a good spot off the kickoff, and he's goal up now.
Oh, poor Fairy Peak. You have to feel for him after these 2 goals. It's about as bad as it can be. I mean, looking at all the goals he's conceded, well, one of them is a mind game, his own goal. Now the kickoff is just everything you don't want to see if you're a Vitality fan.
Oh, but he's going to go 2 behind off this. khalid's figured the kickoffs out. Fairy, time for a big adaptation.
Yeah, you know, Fairy Peak is just really messed that one up mechanically. It's not the strategy that's the problem right now. He's just almost missing the ball. And if you're that side onto the ball and your opponent's plowing straight through the middle, you're going to concede the kickoff goal. There's no luck involved. It's just mechanics. And khalid's stepping up here. Is that another one? That's probably directly into the goal.
Touch it.
What is happening to Fairy Peak's kickoff? Did that own goal tilt him? Perhaps. Because look at the landing again. He's just way too side onto the ball. And khalid goal side perfectly through the middle.
But he is bleeding goals at the moment. You know, we've barely even played 10 seconds in this actual real game time. And he has dropped about 4 goals in it. Might add another one to that list.
Are you joking?
Yes.
What?
khalid is up to 5 goals in a row, and he's barely breaking a sweat for him.
That's so sick, though. Fairy Peak just switched sides. He was thinking, okay, I've lost 3 kickoff goals on the outside. I'm going to go inside this time. But khalid switched as well. He actually read Fairy Peak making the change, and he counters him again. This has got to be soul-destroying for Fairy. There we go. He's back on the board. That should be a goal as well. Unless khalid is there. No, that should be a goal for khalid. Unless he decides to pass the ball to Fairy. Really, I should have stopped talking. Clearly, I don't know anything about this game.
I think the reads were right, the mechanics were not, and the flick was almost gorgeous. Fairy scrambling. 4 goals to bring back here. He's got a minute and a half to do it.
Wait, what?
Not out of the realm of possibility, but khalid, what? Okay, Johnny, you sound a bit confused here, but as the person that has not seen as much advanced 1v1s, I'm sure there is a great mechanical reason as to why that just happened.
Yeah, that's
hit me with the knowledge.
That's the first time I've seen that one. Just let's land backwards for absolutely no reason play from khalid. Doesn't have a name. I think it's never happened before, but at least not intentionally. But you know, khalid at this point on the back of these kickoff goals is just not going to lose this game. Fairy Peak. Just his mechanics let him down from the center circle, and when he tried to make the change, it didn't work either. You know, if it's a mechanical problem on the kickoff, that's when you know you've got a real issue, because I feel like mechanics in Rocket League work the best when you don't have to think about them, and when you're failing mechanically, you have to think, okay, what am I doing wrong? Then you're thinking about it, so it's a lose-lose situation.
So khalid, off the back of a 5-goal swarm. Very likely to be taking this. Fairy would have to score off that play. Gonna get another chance for it, and that is a lovely shot.
That is a very nice shot. khalid just sat back and thought, well, there's a good chance Fairy Peak misses this, so I'm gonna hang about and just see if he hits the post or the bar. Fairy Peak just slaps it in off the crossbar from close range. Now, if he gets 4 kickoff goals in a row here...
I'm leaving. I'm leaving straight up.
You never know.
is going to be a good little kickoff for oKhaliD. Does back down. Very good, hyper aggressive off that ceiling. There was a lot of boost used there for something that could have been quite as easily succeeded at just by staying on the floor. 21 seconds left. oKhaliD has more than secured this game.
Yeah, FairJame's getting a taste of his own medicine here. We've seen him so many times in the past. Already have a scoreline that is winning for him. And then he just decides to keep scoring anyway. Now, oKhaliD is another player who's known for that, showing absolutely no mercy. So take notes, guys. If you want to be as good at 1v1 as FairJame and oKhaliD are, then just don't stop scoring. Just keep on going, especially in a series. It can break the mentality of your opponent completely. They just see that scoreboard at the end of the game and think, what on earth happened here? You know, FairJame's probably got too much experience to be too affected by that. He is just having a bit of fun with this one. oKhaliD's having a lot of fun with it. Nice save by FairJame. It would have been a beauty of a goal to finish this one off.
So 2-1 for Sandrock. Well, I love it when we get these sort of games where we can pinpoint the exact moment it all started going wrong for FairJame. You know, you don't need to have been playing this game for all that long to figure out that maybe conceding 4 kickoffs and a goal isn't the right way to try and take victory.
Yeah.
But for FairJame, you know, he's fine outside of that. Just, it is a very concentrated bubble of everything going very wrong.
And we have to keep a close eye on FairJame's kickoffs early in this game. He is going to be back here. Obviously, just putting that loss down to messing up so many kickoffs in a row. So if he can, like you said, just make sure to get it right. Or, you know, not get it as wrong. Because what we're seeing here is, you know, to the untrained eye, a kickoff loss for FairJame. But actually, he can work with this. You know, this is a ball in a safe position. And he has 100 boosts, so as long as he keeps it in that kind of position and not in his net after 2 seconds, he should be just okay.
I mean, FairJame's idea behind kickoffs for the longest time was not necessarily that he wanted to score for it, but he just didn't want to concede.
Indeed.
So to make sure that he was going to be fine to play what he thought he was more comfortable with after the fact. What makes it even more amazing that his kickoffs were one of the best in the world for the longest time. But he might just sneak this through. Sets up an angle. oKhaliD removes the danger.
Oh, wait a minute.
FairJame.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fine. He's all good.
Where's the cue ball going? As oKhaliD looks for the boost, but he had it all red, and he's got FairJame red as well. And 1-0 for oKhaliD is not a good sign for Vitality as they're trying to do what Space Station did in North America, win 2 of these brackets. oKhaliD not interested though. Does he lose 1v1 competitions? So far, there's not a lot of evidence of that happening, so this would be a first.
oKhaliD's been so consistent. I mean, a lot of what we've had to talk about has been regarding FairJame because oKhaliD just has that level and he sticks to it. It's very difficult to sort of say what he needs to improve, but that shot just slightly off target. oKhaliD has been in full control over the pace of this game so far. FairJame happy to try and match it and increase it even.
This is so smart by FairJame. He's not only looking for the demo threat here, he's also playing the ball. oKhaliD was only afraid of being destroyed in the back corner. He actually didn't realize FairJame could just come in and snag that ball for himself and get the equalizer.
oKhaliD doesn't want to pick up the extra 12 because he knows he can hit it so well. Straight from the off. 1 boost though for oKhaliD. He's not going to get anything else on top of that, but he will take FairJame's back corner. He will hit FairJame out of the way, and FairJame's recovery just about good enough to avoid oKhaliD turning the ball immediately in.
I love that oKhaliD saved that 1 boost that he had when he was making that play. He thought, you know what? I might need this later. I'm not going to use it just yet.
oKhaliD off the wall. You know, it's strange to me, Johnny, that it seems to be right now that oKhaliD is actually just as happy as FairJame is to play that slower pace. He is not overly forcing much of this. Instead, he's doing a lot of what we used to see FairJame do, which is just push the ball into an awkward spot, wait to see what his opponent is going to do, turns immediately this time. Realized that FairJame didn't have full control over the ball, now tried to wipe him out on his way down from the wall.
Yeah, oKhaliD tried to just outpace FairJame in game 2, as he did in the first game, which he won this series. But it didn't work out. FairJame got game 2 in the bag, so with that happening, oKhaliD decided, let's change things up. Let's just go into FairJame's world and see if we can beat him in it. And at the moment, it looks like he can. as he bumps Fairy Peak away pretty cleanly this time.
Fairy almost got the same result that he got last time. He got hit, but he almost managed to get KhaliD to put it off target. Yeah, KhaliD is controlling the pace of this series. And Fairy, without those kickoff wins, he's going to struggle to really set himself up for too much. He's got to try and get the ball cleanly away from KhaliD and then start setting up for the plays that he likes. That is just so difficult, as you can see. KhaliD, I'm going to get here in time. But he can still keep the pressure on. Fairy be jumping. But Fairy is very, very low on boost. He's in a tough spot to play, but covered the angles.
Yeah, he covered both the mind game and the shot there. Very nice by Fairy Peak. And he's timed that boost respawn in the corner to T. Sees the bounce dribble coming, but he didn't see the fake 50-50. KhaliD walks in another goal. And it's just so hard to stop him. He's got multiple threats. Perfect 50-50 by KhaliD. Notice how he dodges away from the ball here, just to make sure that he gets the win. Fairy Peak was close to getting a good outcome, but close isn't good enough when you play against SRG's KhaliD.
KhaliD is the perfect example of taking a mechanic and mastering it. That is exactly what he has done with those bounce dribbles, because you can see how everyone we've watched him play against adapts in the exact same way. They let KhaliD do it for the first 2 games, then they realize, okay, we can't have this anymore. This is far too dangerous. They try and start challenging a bit earlier. All right, KhaliD's second play is just to start dribbling around you. Or if you dive in fully, he's just going to win the low challenge. There is 3 options there for KhaliD that he goes for every single time, and he always gets the right read. He's up by 3 in this game, and he might be up by 2 in this series.
Yeah, KhaliD's far from a one-trick pony, but he's mastered a lot of the tricks so well that he could probably beat most of the top players in 1v1 by being a one-trick pony. He could just pick a shot and roll with that and still win, because he's got the most effective bounce dribble and half volley, full volley combo in the world. You know, thinking of, you know, players at the highest level in competition and a shot that they're associated with, is there a better combination than KhaliD's bounce dribbles? It's difficult to think of one.
No, there definitely is not something I would associate a player that much. J. Russ and turn challenges, maybe. KhaliD is just dismantling Fairy here in Game 4. Is it time, Johnny?
Is it time? Well, at this point, it's clearly from a strategical standpoint. I would say if Vitality need the tournament win here, I think they sub in Alpha. The fact that they don't need this win to win the tournament means we might see more of Fairy Peak, because when Alpha's looking at this one and seeing what KhaliD is doing to Fairy, he's probably saying, you know what, Fairy? I've got to be right back. Hold on, I just realized I've run out of everything, actually. I've got to go to the shops. Yeah, good luck. Bye-bye.
I wouldn't blame him. If he said all of that, it would not necessarily be called ducking the match in that point. That's just called a good decision making. What's happening in chat? What have I missed?
Yeah, Alpha is in chat, so he's got he's got the stream up on his phone. Well, he's on the way.
So he's out on the 3G, is he?
He's on his way to the shops, and he's pretending that he's here. We'd love to see it, but at the same time, I'd love to see a full series. It's like a win-win for fans of the 1v1 scene and of Rocket League in general. We either get to see a series of Fairy versus KhaliD, or we get to see Alpha come in and attempt the impossible. It's, you know, got other options as well. We can see K-Dop. Man, that would be maybe a bit too much. I don't know if KhaliD would have a chance if K-Dop came in, or Mout even.
Mout? Nah, we can't inflict Mout upon anyone. Okay. KhaliD is never ready for the year of the Mout.
I don't think anyone is.
Every year is the year of the Mout.
5-goal lead here for KhaliD. Fairy Peak has been outmatched in this one, and it wasn't because of 4 straight kickoff goals. This is just KhaliD being too good. He is being KhaliD at the moment. He's got an 8th one before 0 seconds as well. Fairy has to go back to the center one more time. You know, funnily enough, when I was watching the Scrub Killer Fairy Peak series, I was impressed with FairJame's ability to win a lot of the kickoffs by staying high enough on the ball, but I'm seeing him over and over again here, just being slightly too low. So when you see him dodging into the ball at the center, oKhaliD is forcing it over the top of him. It's only marginal, so it's hard to spot, but I want to see FairJame going higher. He's going to want to save himself at the end of this, not just to hype himself up before what could be the last game of the tournament, the last game of the series. Are we going to see another one from Fairy? It looks like it.
It is.
For now. Ready's up, and I respect that. He wants to give oKhaliD the full best of 7.
Yeah, absolutely. The scariest thing about this, and there was a lot of scary things about this matchup for FairJame, is that probably the one that tops up my leaderboard at the moment is the fact that oKhaliD hit a rhythm in that one. That looked like something he could do in like 10 hours straight of gameplay. Is still just keep hitting those kickoffs and playing it the exact same way afterwards. Fairy needs to break that rhythm, and the best way he can do that is taking control of the boost and the ball off the kickoffs like we're seeing here, and just not allowing oKhaliD to really set himself up like that. oKhaliD, great save. He's going to try and transition. Very early challenge.
Wow.
And oKhaliD's come out of the challenge on top. There's just no break for him at the moment.
Look at the 50-50 again from oKhaliD. He's putting a backflip into that. It's a diagonal backflip in a lot of these 50-50s when he's anticipating FairJame coming forward, and it's working out pretty consistently. This might be something that starts to become more popular. You know, for the longest time it's been expected that you really have to just go through the ball as hard as possible to get wins in the face-off or in the 50-50 department, but it appears to not always be the case, as oKhaliD just controlling it perfectly.
Yeah, oKhaliD just positions his car so that way he doesn't go flying afterwards. He wants to be quicker on the recovery, not the person that gets the ball onto the other side. And it's been a good strategy so far. What has not been a good strategy is FairJame being that aggressive in oKhaliD's corner.
Yeah, this was just clearly a misplay. As soon as he decided to stay here, he already knew that that was going to be a goal for oKhaliD. And you know, right now it looks like oKhaliD's just going through the motions. Like you said, he could do this all day, but we have to also remember that FairJame is on his 3rd consecutive series here. Had to play against Oxygen in 3v3, Oxygen in 2v2, you know, winning the entire tournament there, and now has to come in and 1v1 oKhaliD. Now, in these kind of positions, you are always going to have some people saying one thing or the other thing, and that is, you know, if FairJame comes in and loses here, then everybody will say, oh, clearly he's just too tired. If he came in and won, people would say, well, it's not fair. Fairy had the warm-up, oKhaliD didn't. But it is something to remember. FairJame is playing 3 consecutive best of 7s, and he's still playing with the best 1v1 player on the planet and going even with him. There's a manual chat. It's not even quick chat. Yes! Exclamation mark from Fairy.
To be fair, we do need the yes quick chat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or yep.
Just lowercase as well. I want the no, like with all the O's, just to be like the most enthusiastic one, and yes to be no enthusiasm at all. But what I can always get enthusiastic about is these oKhaliD offensive plays. He is relentless in his pursuit of this 3rd goal.
He's played extremely safely today. You know, in round 1 of the Fusion 1's bracket, he did look, you know, maybe a bit shaky in defense at times. But there have been so few chinks in his armor today. Get the control to avoid the own goal here, taking the ball back into his corner. And you're going to notice all series long, all game long, oKhaliD just dribbling the ball backwards, taking it into his corner, just to force FairJame to come to him. He's creating space behind Fairy and around Fairy. And he knows how important it is to just have possession in 1v1 again. Just taking the ball all the way down here. You might look at this as lost territory and a winning position for Fairy, but oKhaliD's still in control this entire time.
And let's really focus on what that gives available as Fairy forced to save. He's not going to get a second one. oKhaliD, every time he does this, he's putting into his own corner. You either go and challenge it, at which point you need a very specific win just to be able to get a shot afterwards, or you back down, give oKhaliD the space, and you let him start setting up for whatever dribble play he wants to.
I mean,
There's not really a winning situation there.
Yeah, we saw earlier what happens if Fairy does, you know, press the issue in the offensive corner. You just lose the 50-50 eventually and get scored on. And that's a brilliant shot. Nice one from oKhaliD. If anyone is if anyone's compliment of your half volley is going to matter, I think oKhaliD probably has the best say in that. So that definitely means something.
3 each. Fairy's not out of this just yet. Gotta keep this up though. Cannot let oKhaliD get back into that same kickoff rhythm. More specifically, he doesn't want his own kickoff level to drop off like it did earlier. That's certainly been his biggest sticking point so far this series. What's the wall? Delayed the flick. oKhaliD's not made contact.
Oh!
And Fairy will score.
Yeah, oKhaliD was wanting a small touch on the ball, just a glancing blow to pop it off that back wall and get the boost, get the counter-attack started. But, you know, like I've said before, if you miss that glancing blow, it's devastating. You might just concede. 1 goal lead for Fairy. It's been a while since he's been in an advantageous position. Fortunately for him, it looks like he has leveled out that kickoff weakness, which was apparent in games 3 and 4.
Oh, Fairy jumping. He made a little bit of a positional mistake. He managed to recover from it. But this is a mistake he will just about.
Wow.
My goodness. I think oKhaliD wanted a bit more on that first touch. Fairy will escape. Almost got himself stuck in oKhaliD's corner yet again.
This is a brilliant play by Fairy. He just boxed oKhaliD off the ball. oKhaliD knew if he played for that open net, he was going to be demoed. So he tried to stay away from that. Fairy still caught up with him. Great awareness by Fairy. It looked like he might be conceding for a moment. Look at this, just reversing all the way back into the corner boost as it spawns. Very focusing on the flicks, and this is what we asked him to do earlier. Just no nonsense, just hit the ball towards the top corner, see what happens next.
oKhaliD tries to set up the angle, but he couldn't see Fairy. Managed to hide himself behind the ball, and that is one of those jump scare challenges that we were talking about earlier on. There's a launching shot, and Fairy just makes it. But oKhaliD added emphasis on the shot just to make sure.
Just enough here from oKhaliD to force the issue. Fairy Peak needed to hit the post there, I believe, as well as the crossbar to try and get that one away from oKhaliD as he was coming in. The bounce just wasn't ever going to work in his favor. Another tie game. oKhaliD could take it in game 5, just like Oxygen did to Vitality in the 3v3 today. Obviously, this one won't hurt quite as much with the tournament overall in Vitality's hands already. But oKhaliD, it means so much to him, and he is starting to run away with it. It's only a 1 goal lead, but with the time that's left and how hard it's been for Fairy to get anything out of this matchup, this could be huge.
Fairy just got tapped on his way from the corner, and it ruined any chance he had of a good landing. We've seen previously that the Batmobile does have a little bit of a tendency to spin out. oKhaliD, first time shot. Fairy will be low after this, and he's clattered into the post. So oKhaliD goes all the way back. Could try and pressure for the goal. Instead, he wants that space opened up, and he's removed Fairy from the pitch.
Yep, oKhaliD, 6-4. That demo might have just secured the game and the series for him. Fairy Peak had to commit, but he's been eliminated from the equation. Unless he can really step up in the kickoff. He's got to try something cheeky here, I think. Standard approach just hasn't been working.
That was the last time we saw Fairy score directly off a kickoff, but it's not going to be this time around. Takes to the air this time. Fairy going to reach very deep in that bag of tricks. Reese scores!
And who said Fairy Peak doesn't have the fancy mechanics? He just never has to use them. oKhaliD may have just unlocked Fairy's strap card. Be careful, he says in the quick chat. Not even quick chat, he's typing all this out. Fairy's hilarious. 6-5. Can oKhaliD hang on?
He's been going to the Taz school of using chat. Now needs one more. He tries to set himself up. He's got 4 boost. Can he make it work? Low challenge!
Oh my goodness! Fairy Peak refuses to lose after such a beautiful goal before it. We've gone in the complete opposite direction with a double 50-50. You don't get any uglier than that, but they both count. Tie game. Fairy's not done.
Fairy, with 4 boosts, did not have many options, so he chose his strongest one, and that was just brute power. Wants to win it in regulation.
No way! What? Fairy Peak.
He warned him.
He said be careful. khalid wasn't careful.
That's one of the most legendary things I've seen in this game.
Be careful. khalid better be careful, because we were just talking about the fact that it looked like he might be about to win this 1v1 tournament, which for him is, a huge achievement as well. And, the biggest 1v1 tournament that he's ever played in still. But Fairy Peak just has levels.
I can't get over that, man.
He just has levels, so he never ceases to amaze us. And you gotta love him for it. Wow, what a comeback. Didn't even need overtime.
Very... That was brilliant. That was one of the best uses of this in-game chat I have ever seen.
We had a flip reset, double 50-50 goal with 4 boost, and then a 0-second goal after faking a ceiling shot into a catch and flick. Just unbelievable creativity from Fairy.
Things like you can only ever see in Rocket League 1s.
Oh yeah, I don't think you can. Is it possible in any other game mode? This is why 1v1 always appears to be so scripted. This is why people think that my content is scripted, is because 1v1 has the most unbelievable potential for crazy things to happen.
Well, gonna have to do that a few more times though, Fairy. As exciting as that last game was, gotta now ride that momentum to at least 2 more wins. khalid, though, loses the challenge, and that's rare. Fairy Peak did manage to get it. It wasn't the most powerful shot afterwards, but it was good enough.
A lot of people thought that if Vitality lost that 2v2, they would have been done. Who can beat khalid in ones? There's just no chance. But very clearly seems that Fairy has a very good chance in the matchup. He just has the willpower to survive against all odds. He's been, really up against it at times in this series. Every single play is just getting pressured so hard by khalid, but now he's finding edges in the matchup. He's seeing gaps to exploit. And it's up to khalid now to try and stabilize, because Fairy Peak is reaching the highest level that he has had all day.
Well, khalid's always going to have these, though. These midfield skirmishes where khalid has got control of the ball. It's like it's stuck to him. You have got to hit that ball so well just to get it away from him. And it's all up to those recoveries. Every time you challenge, he is just sat right behind it, brick wall. Ball's just going to bounce off him, and you can keep playing it afterwards.
Yeah,
oh, wait, Fairy scored a kickoff.
Yes, he did. I was waiting to see if khalid would be away from this one, but Fairy Peak is stepping up here. You'll notice he just read khalid's kickoff. He's gone quite strong on one side there, but since khalid was going the other way, Fairy Peak is able to win it. It's a constant mind game for these two, and it must be so stressful knowing that every single kickoff, you got to guess where's your opponent going to go. They are trying to read what you're doing at the same time. Gone are the days where players will just do the same kickoff over and over again, and gone are the days where we thought this series was over. Fairy Peak ahead 3-1, but what a shot that is.
khalid was up by a goal with 3 seconds left. And now we find ourselves in Game 6 with Fairy Peak up by 2. This has been a ridiculous series. And I'll tell you what, if I was going to question if Fairy was fully committed to this series coming in, I think he's 100% committed now. You do not do that in Game 5 and not want to then go on to win the whole thing.
Oh, for sure. Now, Fairy will have a chance to save this one, and he does save it, and he's landed outside the goal. That is an open net for Fairy, and he's not wasting any time. Good luck catching that one, khalid. Hope you've brought a jet plane, because I don't think you're going to catch up any other way. He wasn't far off bumping Fairy, to be fair. But 4-1, the scoreline is swinging farther and farther away from khalid, and I don't think we've ever seen this. Except maybe there's one series I remember where khalid looked like he might be about to be reverse swept by Astral. And hopefully for Fairy's sake, this series doesn't go like that one did, because after Astral is 5 goals up, about to complete the reverse sweep on khalid, khalid got the 5-goal comeback and won the game by 3 goals. So, long way to go before that can happen. Oh wow, what a touch by khalid off the inside of the post to keep control.
khalid does have that ability to make comebacks. And he's starting one here. It would not be the first time that khalid has brought back a 3-goal lead from Fairy. Just needs to do it a little bit more here.
He's still got a lot of time on the clock. Fairy Peak, at the moment, might just be looking to get the ball under control and keep it that way. Not even score or force a goal to happen. If he can just start to dribble the ball around the field, like Khalid so often does when he has a lead, I think that's a good play to make in this matchup. It's all about control when you play against SRG's Khalid. This is great for Fairy, even though he's not scoring there. Now that's maybe a bit more risky.
I don't like Fairy when I see him in the corners. I also don't like it when he puts the ball in his own net. And Khalid, how on earth has the ball ended up in that corner?
Well, Fairy Peak made it difficult for himself. Clearly he didn't consider this matchup hard enough as it was. So he's decided to give Khalid a little bit of help. But he still manages to get away from him. Nice jump there by Fairy. And the pre-flip, he's past Khalid again. How's the bounce looking? It's pretty good. Fairy with a read. And he's just shot on target, but Khalid saves it. And it's just two heavyweights slugging it out right now, but Fairy Peak has the edge.
Now Fairy sets himself up. Khalid's gone a little bit invisible to him after hiding behind the ball. And now it becomes a race to that back corner. Fairy tried to show that he could potentially turn the ball around to go straight onto net. They're both just posturing. Who wants ball? Who wants boost? Fairy's going to claim both. Now up to the wall. It's not the best setup for either a ceiling or a wall. So instead, just forced to power the ball towards Khalid. Wait to see what happens afterwards. Oh, Khalid left the gate open.
Yeah, Khalid was trying to draw Fairy Peak in there, but it's a dangerous game to play. Fairy Peak is taking his time. He's not shooting any unnecessary risks, and I love this. I said I just want to see him run the ball around the field, keep control. That's what he's doing at the moment. He is taking chances when it's a clear opportunity. Apart from that, he is just trying to keep this ball near his car at all times.
He is being hyper aggressive as well whenever Khalid is getting control, but he doesn't have control of this one. He's up by 3. Game 7 is only 56 seconds away if the result stays as it is.
And that is poor defense from Khalid. He just drops it down right in front of the net while recovering slowly. Fairy Peak not only peaking in his ability, pun intended, but Khalid may have reached a few mistakes. Has he just pitched that on target? No way.
Slightly
off. That would have been ridiculous. A save and a goal with the same touch, but no luck for Khalid on this one.
That's the future mechanics. Well, there's only 2 here, actually. And Khalid can score rapid-fire goals, especially with how Fairy's kickoff has looked in the past. Now, we do think Fairy has fixed it. But how much so? It's about to be tested here.
Yeah, I love that from Khalid as well. He saw Fairy Peak coming in, just backed up and waited for the ball to bounce. Didn't let the 50-50 occur. Khalid has the free goal. Fairy Peak misses. And Khalid just slots it in. You know, we were asking if it was maybe Khalid who's fallen off when it mattered most, but Fairy Peak's just dodged the wrong way here.
Oh, wow. 31 seconds to try and claim the 1v1 tournament victory for Khalid. And that kickoff is about as good as it could have possibly been. Fairy watches as the bounce is perfect for him. He's got the boost. He will escape. Physics comes to the rescue for Fairy Peak. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Just, you know, really intellectual moment there by Fairy Peak, losing the kickoff so much that he's won it as the ball just bounces perfectly across the goal. And that allowed Fairy Peak the time to get the boost and then counter-attack. Nice kick-off again here by Fairy. The delayed approach nets him a possession, and that should be Game 7.
Certainly should be. Khalid still wants to try and force one more kickoff play. Fairy will not let him, though. Doesn't get the demo. Khalid wants to turn. Fairy already knows it. And that is going to be Game 7. Fairy Peak versus Khalid. The greatest of all time versus the best right now. Who's going to take it?
And really, when you're talking or when you're having that discussion, greatest of all time in 1v1, there is only one other name in the conversation besides these two, and that's Scrubkilla, who has already been eliminated from this tournament. You've got to beat the best to be the best, and whoever wins this has certainly got a lot of claim to that title, but isn't it just incredible that Fairy Peak can even be competitive in this matchup? I think going into this tournament, I certainly didn't think that he would be able to take a series in a best of 7 against the likes of oKhaliD. I knew that the games would be great, and I was looking forward to seeing it if it did happen, but this is just crazy. oKhaliD didn't play badly. I think I maybe saw one mistake that was just a free goal for Fairy, but apart from that, oKhaliD is playing pretty solid. Maybe not as confident in his offense as he has been earlier in the series, but certainly still playing a good game, and Fairy's just been better.
So, here we go. Game 7. Both these players have got reputations for nerves of steel. Who's going to pull out one of the best tournament performances of their careers? It's starting off so well for Renault Vitality's Fairy
Wow.
Peak.
You know, had Oxygen won the 2v2, this would be the most scripted thing I've ever seen, because Fairy Peak would be fighting for the tournament life. They've already got that secured, and like Shogun said earlier, I think that might be helping Fairy here. He's just fully relaxed. oKhaliD is the one who has all this expectation on him, and he's got all these people waiting to see another tournament win for him. But Fairy Peak has stepped it up, and after that Game 5 equaliser and Game 5 win, I'm done doubting him. He's over that part of my life.
We have got my favorite version of Fairy Peak on the field right now. That is no nonsense Fairy Peak. We know he can do the mechanics, but when he is very direct with his gameplay, he is terrifying. And that is exactly what we're getting.
What? Remind me again, which one of these players has the scariest ground shot in the world? oKhaliD just left with no chance. He was trying to touch this at the same time as the ball hit the bar, because it's bounced down. He doesn't get the hit. 3-goal lead for Fairy Peak in 20 seconds. This is the biggest test for oKhaliD's resolve that we'll ever see, and he's already had plenty of those. Fairy Peak's control has just stepped up so much, and you've got to give him full credit for this.
oKhaliD not going to have to force the pace just yet, but he is going to have to play a bit quicker than we've been seeing him in the past few games.
Oh, there you go.
Such a good touch, though. Right over the top of Fairy, who wants to keep that constant pressure on. And this is a good way of trying to punish that.
oKhaliD was just waiting to see what Fairy would do here. Obviously, if Fairy backs off, he can take that ball down, start the dribble. But if Fairy Peak hangs around underneath him, the shot is on, and oKhaliD puts his first goal on the board. He's going to need a lot more of those, I feel, though, because Fairy is still playing the best that he's been playing all day. oKhaliD is looking risky in defense for the first time in a long time.
Oh, Fairy, 2 attempts to get that boost. It was only on the 3rd that he actually managed it. That gives oKhaliD a chance, but Fairy is reading every single play. oKhaliD doesn't want to go for the early challenge, instead allows Fairy to shoot. Will turn, another high ball. Fairy Peak waiting for that one mistake, and that was such a calculated play, but oKhaliD will take advantage. Fairy Peak just drops the ball to him.
Fairy Peak trying to be a bit greedy here. He wanted to take this with him, but the touch wasn't good enough. And those are the goals you don't want to concede. Obviously, both of these players are good enough to put in unstoppable shots, and you've got to just, tip your hat if that happens and say, well played, as these guys have been doing. Only respect between them. But unforced mistakes like that, it can be so costly. oKhaliD does get caught in the back corner. He thought he could get away from Fairy here. Fairy had other ideas, and now he's back in control. He's back in the driver's seat.
And that is a monstrous flick from Fairy Peak, but an even better catch from oKhaliD. He's taken what Fairy was trying to do, and Fairy's trying to put him out of position. And instead, he's now turned it into an offensive opportunity. And these midfield skirmishes have typically gone oKhaliD's way. Very, very good at just creating space for himself, though, to the corner. oKhaliD forced to go back. Will he be able to escape this? That is a huge flick.
Yeah, great power on that one. Fairy Peak forced away. Didn't even want to stick around for any potential demo, because oKhaliD's acceleration through that flick was absolutely perfect. Khalid's using a lot of boosts here. He wants the shot. FairJame saw it coming. That was extremely risky by Khalid. He may have caught FairJame off guard. Oh, has he got the double? He does! Khalid, with half the game gone, equalizes. Huge 50-50 and mid-air recovery.
Look at that recovery. He played for it. He knew what he wanted. And he's got it. 3 goals down, 3 each now. Khalid's got himself on the board off his only shot this game. But this kickoff is so good for FairJame. He's got the options. He's got that Batmobile flick, but Khalid has got stalwart defense. That's a huge misplay though from Khalid. He's got to try and put this ball into his own corner. Try and see if he can play it after that.
I think he decided not to shoot that. That backflip was intentional from Khalid because he realized that the shot wasn't going to be powerful enough. It was going to be a giveaway of possession. He keeps it to himself, and he will get the next goal. You know, it wasn't plan A, but Khalid adapted perfectly, and plan B, super effective on FairJame, who couldn't get near him.
Every single time Khalid gets that ball into a very slow, almost dead ball situation against FairJame, he's winning it. He is just able to utilize the angles given a little bit better.
Wait a minute.
FairJame peak.
Wait a minute.
The kickoff. 4 each. My goodness, what is this right now, Johnny?
Oh man, somebody tell these guys to stop going on the outside of the ball on these kickoffs. Every time that it happens, we're seeing a goal straight into the net. It was FairJame peak in game number 3, over and over again. Now Khalid's decided to go for it. So he won't do it twice in a row, or 4 times in a row like FairJame peak did in game number 3. Definitely a good idea. Khalid's afraid to play for the ball there. The demo is on for FairJame. Khalid's goalkeeping is equal to it. Is this shot available? FairJame peak blocks.
Fact. Again, we know Khalid likes to open up this space. And he's just daring FairJame. Come forward, try for the challenge. And FairJame was happy to take it on. He's in a good spot here, actually. But Khalid's trying to play over the top. And FairJame shuts down the angle just in time.
That's huge. Khalid's been scoring so many goals today on the turn. FairJame peak managed to see that one coming. But here's another one. Khalid turning around so quickly. But FairJame peak's bumped him. It's wide open. That's a shot on target that Khalid can't catch. FairJame peak ahead again.
FairJame has read the read. He knew that Khalid thought he was going to try and back down. Instead, plays for the bump. This is incredible right now. This is like 2 ridiculously high Rocket League IQs going against each other and just seeing who can utilize situations the best. This has been brilliant.
I feel like it's going to be, like, it's inevitable when such smart players are going up against each other that something ridiculous ends it. Well, that was almost ridiculous. FairJame peak off the joint. Hold on. That shot's out of his range. It's in.
How on earth did FairJame... Oh, he turned slightly.
Yeah, he didn't
expect
it.
A little turn. Yeah, he just wasn't thinking Khalid would just go for it.
He didn't think Khalid could generate the power. He didn't think it was going to be that good of a shot. But both of these guys have got such power in their shots. They have to respect it at all times. FairJame peak again, coming forward straight from the center circle. He's not going to give Khalid any time to go for 100 boosts here. Khalid doesn't need it, but both players are on the wrong side of the ball.
Khalid wants to turn. FairJame will be back just in time. And just to claim that 100, and Khalid fakes out. That means he can take control of this play. And it's going to be honest fair to see whether or not he can try and recover into a good spot. Khalid's still in control. Back to the corner. 100 boost now picked up for the Sandrock Gaming player. And he's going to back all the way down. He knows he's got FairJame chasing. But does he know how much boost FairJame's got left? That decision's going to be made up pretty quickly. There's a moment after you just don't see your opponent boost for so long that then you know to pull the trigger.
Khalid with a very close to the car bounce dribble. He's got a free hit on the ball here. Takes a touch. Top corner shot. FairJame saves it. And we're into the final seconds.
Khalid back yet again. FairJame chasing. FairJame wants to try and set up for a demo angle. He's trying to show that he might turn for this. Are we going to overtime? FairJame with a pop. With the follow. And Khalid will keep it away. And he might just go for the counterattack.
Oh wow, he can keep this up, and he will. Khalid's so confident in his 0-second play, but so's FairJame, and now he's got a shot at it. Khalid's backed off. FairJame has space. Surely he can't do it again. Khalid gets in the way. Fantastic pre-jump.
We went around the world, and still neither player able to score. Next goal for the tournament, and it's not going to be off the kickoff, but Khalid has got control again. FairJame
oh my
dives.
goodness!
FairJame's won the ball.
Fairy had no boost, but he still goes for it. He had to invest everything there just to reach it. khalid had the boost to recover with. Pretty even position. khalid's faked it! And FairJame scores! Immediate compliment from khalid. So gracious in defeat. But FairJame with a huge mind game wins the series. He is the greatest to ever do it.
The throne was kept warm for him. But he gets to sit down on it yet again. FairJame, the best to ever do it, has won again. How does he do this, man? We've mentioned it during the broadcast. This is not his main focus. And he still comes in against someone as dominant as khalid, and he's managed to beat him. It is mind-blowing how good FairJame is.
And after losing in the way that he did in the earlier games as well, those were not fun games for FairJame to play when he was losing 4 kickoff goals in a row. You know, how many people can lose 4 kickoff goals in a row and then think, yeah, you know what, I'm just not going to tilt and leave the lobby. I'm just going to try and win this series. Down by 2 goals with hardly any time left in Game 5. No problem for FairJame. Just come back and win it. You know, a great lesson for khalid today. He should have listened to FairJame when FairJame said be careful. Because, you know, it looked like just a bit of fun at the time, but FairJame wasn't messing around.
FairJame, the first person to ever say he's about to start trying and actually mean it.
And actually have it happen. I don't think I've ever seen that before. You know, usually, okay, I'm going to start trying now, then they concede again. But FairJame, I mean, there's no question now. He is the greatest 1v1 player of all time. And, you know, who the greatest 1v1 player at the moment is definitely up in the air now after khalid's loss.
It gets muddier, if anything.
Yeah, going into today, it was certainly khalid. But after seeing how well FairJame's played there, he's given himself a pretty good stake to get back in the running for that one as well.
And it just took him one tournament. That's all it took for FairJame to get himself right back up that leaderboard. And we'll get the chance to see it. I mean, I love it. We don't even have to wait too long to reopen this argument, Johnny, because Salt Mine's coming up soon.
Well, that's the thing. FairJame, is he going to play? Is he going to give it a go? After seeing this today, I think we know what the people want. He's got to
place placements first.
Yeah, he's got to go and get up the rank ladder. But we know what the people want. So, yeah, you guys can go and tell FairJame what to do next. But for now, we have to just... just all bow down to FairJame. He's just beaten khalid in the 1v1 grand final from 3-1 down. Turns out, even if Oxygen did win, it wouldn't have mattered. Vitality still had this one under control. There's the final look at the bracket, and here's the final standings. Vitality over 30 points. Just an incredible effort from them. We already knew that they'd won, but that's given it an exclamation mark as well. And just so you know, Vitality were only $500 off the maximum earnings in this tournament. Obviously, if they won the 3v3, it would have been the maximum from them. But they got the 2 bracket wins. There's your final prize money for all teams who have been in the tournament. With Oxid still taking home $5,500 and Sandrock getting $3,000 thanks to khalid's run in the 1v1. But you know, really today we've got multiple winners. We've got Oxygen in the 3v3. We've got Vitality in the 2v2, and then of course we've got Vitality in the 1v1 as well. But I think Vitality and FairJame are just the overall winners. There's no question. After that, there's really just no denying that they are the best team in the world when you put together all the game modes.
No, absolutely not. It's impressive just how strong that team is, and we didn't just see, you know, one player go in for every single thing. They were spreading out a lot of the responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know, we did see for the longest time Alpha and KDOP were assigned to 2v2 duty, but we've also seen Alpha participate in the ones. This is just the strongest roster altogether. Every single player on that team. Yes, KDOP, if he comes into the ones, wouldn't be at that same level, but you can be certain it would still be a high level.
And, you know, if KDOP wanted to, I'm sure he could get back up to that level. All these guys are just such incredible players. And they fully deserve this. I'm sure we'll see oKhaliD bounce back from this. It's rare for him to get to experience a loss. You know, they say that you learn the most from your losses, so maybe this is the rare opportunity for khalid to learn something, and there's plenty to look back on that series about and see what can be done better. Just a crazy back and forth in what I think is unquestionably the most scripted game mode that we've seen in the longest time. This tournament alone kind of proving that. But I've got to say one last thank you before you all leave to everybody who's helped me to make this Fusion tournament possible. We've got a lot of people behind the scenes who don't get enough credit, and big thank you to them. Big thank you to the mods in Twitch chat. Thank you to all the other casters who have come on with me to cast these games, and not just in EU but in the NA Fusion as well. Thank you to all of the community streamers in Rocket League for getting involved with viewing parties. I hope you've all had a great time. I hope you've had as much fun watching these matches as I have and as we have. And thank you again to all the players for being incredibly professional and easy to work with. I think maybe we only had one late match, and it was just a few minutes late. Just a tiny thing to improve on for next time. But overall, just thank yous all around. And lastly, thank you to all of you guys watching so much, because this tournament has been so much more successful than we could have possibly imagined. I still can't believe this is actually happening. We have so many people watching a community tournament, and hopefully it's just the beginning of a great month of community tournaments. As you guys know, there's plenty more to come. I've got the Salt Mine 2 coming up on my channel, but there's loads more. Check out Psionic's announcement about community tournaments if you've got that itch, if you've got that urge to watch some more competitive Rocket League after Fusion, because I'm sure at this point it's been part of quite a lot of people's lives and their daily routines, and now it's going to be gone. But there's plenty more for you guys to get stuck into, so do go and check that out and find out when everything's happening before you miss it. Now, Shogun, any final thoughts here about the tournament, about Vitality? What's next for you as well? Because I'm sure people want to see more of you now. They're going to be missing you and my channel for a while.
Oh, all right. So first things first, I'm definitely turning up in the Discord tomorrow about 10 p.m. and you are going to have to come in and tell me, no, the tournament is finished.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic. It has been a great 2 weeks of Rocket League. It's been non-stop. I know on your side it's been a lot of work, but I think, from me, from everyone that has been watching, it has been more than worthwhile just to see how this has come across. You've done a great job with this, and I can't wait to see the Salt Mine.
Yeah, I better go and start getting work done on that, because finished with one tournament, just getting started on another. But guys, it's time to say goodbye from Fusion. Hopefully we'll see you again. If you have enjoyed the streams, if you have enjoyed the tournament, then you know what to do. Just Twitch Prime, so that I know to do it again. Now, jokes aside, we've already, I think, nearly beaten our sub record without having alerts on, so I get it, guys. You like tournaments, you like Fusion. I've got the picture. We'll do it again. You guys have been more than supportive enough already. But it is time to say bye for now. I'll be back streaming tomorrow though, so you can check me out there. I won't be streaming Fusion, but I will be streaming. And I'm sure, Shogun, you're going to be live as well, I imagine?
Yep, every single day. So the grind never stops around here. So we're both going to be live soon. Yeah, we'll be back to it immediately. Yeah, and remember to check out all the casters who have been helping out with the casting for the tournament. There, little at in the bottom corner. I believe it's been correct for all of them. You can find them on Twitter. You can find all their links from there. So just go back and watch if you want to find anybody and check out more of their content. But from me, from everybody at Fusion, it is time to say goodbye. Thank you all so much for watching. Congratulations to the champions, Vitality of Europe and Space Station Gaming of North America, both taking 2 brackets on either side of the Atlantic. And everybody else who's been winning, Oxygen and Rogue as well, taking down individual brackets, which is still an incredible achievement when you see how many teams are trying to qualify for this and the depth of talent in all those rosters. Massive congrats to those guys. Can't wait to see what they get up to next. But yeah, that's it from me. That's it from us. Have a great rest of your evening, everybody. Stay safe, stay responsible, and look forward to more high-level Rocket League coming to you very, very soon.
This is going to be a great year, I can tell you, for competitive RL. So you're not going to want to miss out. Just stay in touch with it all on Twitter. But until then, till next time, thanks for watching and good night.